So after one-step inequalities and two-step inequalities, most people say, well, next comes three-step. Well, we just call anything more than two a multi-step inequality. So basically, multi-step inequalities just adds the element of distributive property and combining like terms, which remember, we've already done that in this class as well. So we're putting everything together that we've already learned. Nothing today is actually new. We've done distributive property when the number's touching the parentheses. We've combined like terms when we have the same variable part. And we've solved normal two-step inequalities. We're just going to put that all together in one big problem. So first step, just like always, I want to see that line down through that inequality sign. And this is basically our order. If we have a number touching the parentheses, we have to distribute. Well, as I look at this problem right here, I don't even have parentheses. So I get to skip step 1 and go to step 2. So next step, we have to combine the like terms. Well, this 2 has an x. Does anything else have an x? This positive 3x. So remember, since they have the same variable part, they're considered like terms. They can go together. So the 2x plus the 3x becomes 5x. But then I still have that plus 5 that I need to bring down. And my less than or equal to 20. This should look familiar because now it's just a two-step inequality. Exactly what we just did in the last unit. So I have that 5 and the x who are best friends. And since the best friend is positive, my inequality sign is just going to stay the same. So I'm just going to continue to solve. To get rid of a plus 5, I have to minus 5. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So now I'm going to bring down that 5x is less than or equal to, and now 20 minus 5, I end up with a 15. That x still isn't by itself yet. So my last step is to divide by that 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so I have my 1x is less than or equal to, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So for my final solution, I have x is less than or equal to 3. So on my number line, I need that 3, which means I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put a circle on the 3. Am I going to fill that circle in or not? Well, remember that line underneath that inequality sign means it can equal 3. If it can equal, that means 3 is included in our solution. So we're going to color that in. Then it says x is less than 3. Well, if x is less, numbers get less when I go to the left. So it's all the numbers on the number line to the left of 3. 2 is less than 3. 1 is less than 3. All those numbers to the left. So now let's move on to number 2. On this problem, I do have a number touching the parentheses. So remember, when the number is touching the parentheses, touching means multiply. But more specific, it has to multiply everything inside. So that's when we distribute. So be careful because it's not just a 3, it's negative 3 multiplying. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And then negative 3 has to multiply this 2. But remember, it's not a 2, it's a negative 2. And when I have a negative times another negative, I'm going to actually get a positive 6. 3 times 2 is 6, and the negative times the negative cancel out. So my new problem is negative 3x plus 6 is less than 15. Once you distribute, you should be combining like terms. Well, I don't even have any like terms to combine, so I can go straight to solving the inequality. I'm going to circle the x with its best friend, and in this case, my best friend is negative. Remember, what do we have to do when that best friend is a negative number? That inequality sign, instead of being a less than, and my final answer, I need greater than. So I'm going to flip that now so I don't forget it later. Now let's just solve the problem. To get rid of a plus 6, I have to subtract 6. So I'm still going to bring down that negative 3x is less than 15 minus 6, I get 9. For my final step, I still have x multiplying. To get rid of multiply, I need to divide. And not just by 3, but I also need to get rid of the negative. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. Dividing or multiplying by a negative on both sides is where we're going to flip that sign. The negatives and the 3's can cancel out, so I'm left with my x is greater than 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. So I have negative 3 on my number line. To the left, I'm going further negative. So I have negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. I could keep going to 0, but we only need 5 numbers. The number in our answer, 2 to the left and 2 to the right. I'm going to put that circle on the negative 3 because that's the number in my answer. Since there's not a line underneath, it's not colored in, we leave it open. And if I put teeth on this guy, remember, it wants to eat the x, so x is bigger. Numbers get greater or bigger as I go to the right on the number line. Next, let's solve a problem that has distributive property and combining like terms all in one. So this last problem includes not only combining like terms, but it also includes distributive property all in the same problem. So remember, anytime we have a number touching the parentheses, we have to get rid of those parentheses first, which means we have to distribute. And this is a positive 2 distributing to these parentheses. So a positive 2 times x is a plus 2x. And a positive 2 times a negative 4 becomes negative 8. So I still have this 5x. Now I have plus 2x minus 8 is greater than that 6. But now, I don't just have one variable, I have it twice. So I can't have the variable in 2 different places, so I need to put them together. Well, the 5x and the 2x, since it's the same variable, I can just combine that to one term. If I have 5 x's and I'm adding 2 more x's, that really just makes 7x. But then I still have this minus 8 is greater than 6. Well, now I've simplified everything I can on the left side. So now I actually have to solve and start getting rid of the things around the variable. So since 7 and x are best friends, they're going to stay together. That best friend is a positive, so we're not going to flip our sign. So I can just go to solving. To get rid of a minus 8, I have to add 8. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Negative 8 plus 8 makes 0, so I can cross that off. And I have my 7x is greater than, well, 6 plus 8, I end up with 14. I'm still not finished because I need that x to be completely by itself. So my final step, I have to divide by that 7, which now gets me my x, which is greater than, and 14 divided by 7, I get 2. So my final answer is x is greater than 2. So on my number line, I need 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put my circle on the 2. And since there's not a line underneath, it means it's not equal, so we have to leave that circle open. And if x is greater than 2, numbers are greater toward 3, 4, 5, and all the numbers going to the right. So with multi-step inequalities, we have to distribute if we have parentheses, combine the like terms, And then we're just solving a two-step inequality the same as we've already been doing.